She only meant to wipe him down. But then something stirred beneath the blanket. Dr. Lyra Chen moved quietly through the sterile corridors of the Ardent Research Outpost, her boots making soft echoes against the metal floor. Outside the reinforced windows, the exoplanet's icy winds howled, bending the few hardy structures in their path. The sky was a pale swirl of green and violet clouds, casting eerie light across the station. It was beautiful in a cold, lonely way, and Lyra often found herself staring out the window, imagining the mysteries hidden in that frozen wilderness. But today, she had no time for contemplation. Today, she had work to do. Her task seemed simple enough. A mysterious alien specimen, collected years ago during one of humanity's early interstellar expeditions, lay dormant under a thick thermal blanket in the containment chamber. The scientists had assumed it inert, or at least inactive, for months. Her job was routine: inspect it, wipe the condensation from the blanket, and record any changes. In theory, nothing could go wrong. In theory. Lyra pushed open the heavy door and entered the chamber. The room was cold, almost unnaturally so, and the hum of the life support systems filled the silence. She walked over to the specimen, her gloved hands brushing against the cool metal table. The blanket covering the creature shimmered faintly under the overhead lights, reflecting a rainbow of colors in the fibers. Lyra couldn't help but pause for a moment. Even after all her years of studying alien life, the sight of this being made her stomach flutter with excitement. It was as if the blanket itself promised secrets waiting to be uncovered. She pulled a small cloth from her pocket, dipped it in a mild cleaning solution, and began wiping the blanket gently. The motion was slow, careful, almost reverent. The first few swipes were uneventful. Then a subtle tremor ran through the fabric beneath her hand. Lyra froze. She blinked, thinking it was her imagination. But the movement came again, this time more deliberate. A faint pulse, like a heartbeat, moved beneath the fibers. Her breath caught. She straightened and looked at the blanket from every angle. The room felt colder somehow, and the hum of the station's system seemed louder. Lyra's mind raced. Could it have been a residual movement from its cryosleep? Or had the creature stirred on its own? Either way, she knew she had to report it. "Doctor." Chen, a calm voice interrupted from the doorway. It was the station AI, projected as a holographic figure that hovered near the entrance. "Are you beginning the inspection?" "Yes," Lyra replied, trying to keep her voice steady. "But there may be some activity. I'll need guidance on protocol before proceeding further." The AI's form flickered, its soft blue glow steady. "Acknowledged. The specimen has remained dormant for 742 standard days. Activity is unexpected. Recommend monitoring only. Avoid physical contact until confirmation of life sign stability." Lyra nodded. She would heed the advice, at least for now, yet curiosity pulled at her. She leaned closer, gently brushing the cloth over the blanket once more. This time, the movement was unmistakable. The blanket shifted, and a soft, irregular ripple spread across its surface. Lyra's heart pounded. She had seen many strange things in her career, but this was different. It felt intelligent. A faint glow emanated from the blanket. At first, it was just a shimmer, but gradually the glow formed a sequence of patterns, flickering like a slow heartbeat. Lyra's eyes widened. The creature was responding somehow to her presence, or perhaps it had been waiting for this moment all along. Her mind raced through possibilities. Could it recognize human touch? Did it understand that she meant no harm? Lyra's fingers hovered over the fabric, trembling slightly. Then she made a decision. She pressed her hand gently against the blanket. The ripple grew stronger. The blanket pulsed in time with her heartbeat, almost as if acknowledging her touch. Lyra felt a strange connection, a silent communication that went beyond words. Her pulse quickened with a mixture of fear and wonder. "Lyra," the AI said cautiously. "The energy readings are fluctuating. Recommend ceasing contact." She hesitated. Part of her wanted to step back to follow protocol and maintain safety. But another part, the part that had always driven her to explore the unknown, urged her forward. She whispered softly, "It's okay, I won't hurt you." To her astonishment, the pulse beneath the blanket slowed, almost in response to her voice. The patterns of light became steadier, more regular. It was as if the creature were trying to communicate, reaching out in the only way it could. Lyra's chest tightened with excitement. For the first time in years, she felt the thrill of discovery in its purest form. Suddenly, a soft hum filled the room, rising from the blanket itself. The lights flickered, and the temperature around her seemed to shift slightly. The AI's voice sounded more urgent. Dr. Chen, the energy signature is escalating. Cease interaction immediately. But Lyra could not pull away. She watched as the glow intensified, forming intricate sequences that pulsed rhythmically. Her scientific mind raced to decode the signals, to understand the patterns. Each pulse seemed deliberate, almost like a language she had never learned but could somehow sense. And then it moved. Not violently, not aggressively, but subtly. A small portion of the blanket shifted upward, forming the faint outline of a shape beneath. Lyra gasped. She had expected the creature to be a formless blob, inert and strange. But now she saw hints of structure, symmetry, and design. It was alive in ways she had only imagined. She stumbled back slightly, unsure whether to feel fear or awe. The creature, whatever it was not dormant. It was waiting, observing, and now reacting. Lyra's mind raced with questions. How intelligent was it? How long had it been aware? And most importantly, what did it want from her? The hum grew louder, and the light sequences became faster, almost frantic. The blanket shifted again, this time with more force, and a small, soft vibration ran through the table. Lyra steadied herself, gripping the edge. This was no longer a simple inspection. Something profound was happening, something she could not yet name. The AI's voice cut through the tension. Dr. Chen, evacuation protocol is recommended. The energy output is beyond normal parameters. Containment breach possible. Lyra shook her head. She could not leave. Not now. She took a deep breath and approached the blanket once more, placing both hands gently on the surface. The vibrations steadied. The glow slowed. It was as if the creature sensed her courage, her willingness to engage rather than fear it. Her mind filled with wonder and trepidation. The being beneath the blanket was more than a specimen. It was a mind, an intelligence waiting for recognition. And somehow she had given it that recognition. The lights flickered one last time, and a soft, steady pulse radiated from beneath the blanket. Lyra felt a connection she could not fully explain. It was a silent promise. They had acknowledged each other, and the story of discovery was only beginning. Outside, the wind howled and the frozen exoplanet stretched endlessly, indifferent to the fragile station perched on its surface. Inside, a human and an alien shared a moment of understanding, delicate and profound. The unknown had stirred, and the first chapter of something extraordinary had begun. Lyra straightened, her heart still racing. She knew that when her colleagues returned, they would see only a blanket, but she had seen more. Something intelligent, something alive, had reached out through the cold silence, and she had responded. For the first time in years, she felt truly alive. The following hours passed slowly in the ardent research outpost, each moment stretching longer than the last. Doctor. Lyra Chen did not move from her position beside the blanket. The soft pulse of light beneath it had become almost hypnotic, a steady rhythm that mirrored her own heartbeat. She could feel the warmth of the energy through the fabric, a gentle reminder that whatever lay beneath was alive, intelligent, and aware. Lyra knew she could not leave it alone. If the station AI's warnings were accurate, even a small mistake could have consequences. Yet she also understood that retreating now would mean losing a chance that might never come again. Her hands hovered over the blanket, sensing the faint vibrations, the subtle changes in temperature, and the slow rise and fall of the form beneath. She spoke softly, almost instinctively. "I'm here," she whispered. "I won't hurt you. I want to understand you." The response was immediate. The pulses beneath the blanket quickened, then slowed again, forming a pattern Lyra could almost decipher. It was not random. The creature was sending a message, or at least an attempt at one. Lyra's mind raced as she considered how to respond. Words would not work. Sound might frighten it. Only actions, only signals might reach it. She remembered the hollow display on the wall, a tool used for teaching the station's AI to interpret alien signals. Carefully, she tapped on the interface and began projecting soft patterns of light onto the blanket. The colors shifted gently, flowing like water. Lyra hoped the gentle motion would feel familiar, calming, even communicative. Beneath her hands, the blanket vibrated. The creature's pulses responded, and the colors aligned with its movements. It was a dance, tentative but deliberate. Lyra's eyes widened. She realized that the creature was not just aware of her presence, it was experimenting with ways to connect. She could feel a spark of excitement and awe rising in her chest. For decades, humanity had speculated about intelligent alien life, and here, in this small, icy outpost, she was witnessing proof. Hours turned into a full cycle of the station's artificial day. Lyra did not notice the passage of time. She was focused entirely on the blanket, tracing its movements, responding to pulses, adjusting lights, and matching rhythms. Slowly, a sense of understanding began to form between them. The creature's energy stabilized, the chaotic fluctuations that had concerned the AI now forming smooth, repeating sequences. When the station's doors opened behind her, Lyra barely noticed. It was only when a group of her colleagues entered that she realized she was no longer alone. "Lyra, what's going on?" asked Dr. Camel Rios, the station's chief engineer, eyes wide as he surveyed the containment room. The energy readings were off the charts. "Why weren't you evacuated?" Lyra turned to him, her hands still resting on the blanket. "It's okay," she said simply. "It's trying to communicate. I think it wants to cooperate." The scientists exchanged skeptical glances. None of them had seen anything like this before. The AI's warnings still echoed in their minds, but something in Lyra's calm confidence made them hesitate. They watched as the blanket shimmered, its pulses forming neat, repeating patterns that seemed almost musical in rhythm. Dr. Rios approached cautiously. "You're suggesting we communicate with it, that it has intelligence?" Lyra nodded. "Yes, it's not aggressive, it's curious, it reacts to what we do, we just have to be patient and careful." The team worked together, following her instructions. Lights were projected, soft vibrations applied, and every small change in the blanket was monitored. Slowly, a breakthrough occurred. The creature began to respond to specific sequences of light and vibration consistently. It was learning, adapting, and even anticipating their actions. Lyra's heart soared. Humanity had always relied on ingenuity and adaptability to survive in harsh environments, and here it was again, guiding her hand. The alien had no language they could understand, but it was intelligent enough to establish a basic form of interaction. Every pulse, every flicker of light became a bridge between two species. As the hours passed, the creature began to influence the station systems. The AI had warned that energy fluctuations could cause disruptions, but now it became clear that the pulses were stabilizing the environment. Temperature, gravity, and lighting all responded to the rhythms beneath the blanket. It was as if the creature was testing the station, learning how humans lived, and finding ways to assist rather than harm. Lyra realized something profound. Humanity's survival often depended on observation, quick thinking, and courage. This was no different. The creature's actions were dangerous in one sense, yet the team's careful guidance had turned potential risk into advantage. Over the next cycle, they established a basic dialogue. Lights, vibrations, and gentle touches became their language. The creature responded with increasing complexity, even initiating some sequences on its own. Lyra watched in awe as it seemed to anticipate human needs, stabilizing the station's systems before they even malfunctioned. By the second day, the team was no longer fearful. They had begun to see the alien as a partner rather than a threat. Lyra's earlier intuition, her patience and willingness to engage rather than recoil, had allowed this connection to form. "This is incredible," said Dr. Rios, his voice tinged with disbelief. "We were ready to evacuate to consider it dangerous, and yet it's helping us, it's intelligent." Lyra smiled softly. "It's more than that. It's alive in ways we can barely imagine, but it's learning, adapting, and cooperating. Humanity has faced unknowns before. This is just another challenge that we meet with observation and ingenuity." The creature, sensing their approval, pulsed in brighter sequences. The blanket shifted slightly, revealing hints of structure beneath. No details were clear, but there was order and symmetry, patterns that suggested a design meant to interact, to cooperate. Over time, the team learned more. The alien could adjust energy flows, stabilize environmental controls, and even enhance the efficiency of their research systems. What had begun as a simple inspection had turned into a partnership. Lyra marveled at the possibilities. A species they had assumed dormant or incomprehensible was now a collaborator. She felt a deep sense of pride in humanity, not just for discovering this creature, but for approaching it with patience, curiosity, and care. Humans had always faced the unknown with courage and creativity, and now, once again, those qualities had turned a potential threat into a remarkable opportunity. By the end of the week, the aliens' influence on the station was undeniable. Energy systems were more stable, research tasks more efficient. and the team had learned to converse with it through patterns of light and vibration. Lyra often thought back to that first moment when she had dared to touch the blanket, unsure if she would be rewarded or punished. The reward had been far greater than she could have imagined. The team worked tirelessly to document the interaction, careful not to overwhelm the creature with too many new stimuli at once. Lyra took meticulous notes, mapping sequences of light and vibration to responses from the alien. Every breakthrough was met with quiet celebration. Humanity, she realized, was not just surviving on this harsh exoplanet. It was thriving because of its ability to adapt, learn, and act thoughtfully. One evening, as the planet's twin moons rose in the sky, casting silver light across the station, Lyra stood beside the blanket once more. The creature pulsed gently beneath her hands, a calm and steady rhythm that seemed almost comforting. She whispered, "We will learn together. We will survive together." A response came in the form of a brighter pulse, a gentle vibration that ran through the table. It was a simple acknowledgement, but it carried meaning. Mutual understanding had been achieved. Humanity had met the unknown with intelligence, patience, and care, and in return, the unknown had responded. Lyra smiled, feeling the quiet thrill of discovery. This was not just science. This was a testament to what humans could accomplish when faced with uncertainty. They could observe, learn, adapt, and connect, even with a life form beyond their comprehension. And in that moment, she understood that the story of the ardent research outpost and the strange, intelligent life beneath the blanket was only just beginning. Outside, the frozen winds of the exoplanet continued to roar. The world was harsh, cold, and indifferent, but inside the station, humanity had found a way to turn the unknown into opportunity. One hand on the blanket, one hand guiding her team, Lyra Chen felt the extraordinary possibilities ahead. The unknown had awakened, and humans had risen to meet it. As she watched the pulsing lights beneath the blanket, Lyra felt a surge of pride and hope. The creature was no longer a specimen, no longer a mystery to fear. It was a partner, a collaborator, a symbol of the triumph of curiosity, patience, and ingenuity. And humanity, once again, had proven that it could face the unknown, not with fear, but with courage, intelligence, and heart. The days passed in a rhythm of quiet anticipation at the ardent research outpost. Dr. Lyra Chen and her team had settled into a new routine, working alongside the creature beneath the blanket. Its pulses of light and subtle vibrations had become almost like a language, a dialogue of energy and intention. The scientists had learned to interpret its signals with surprising speed, and the alien, in turn, seemed to adapt to human patterns and gestures. Together, they had stabilized the station's systems and improved operational efficiency. Yet Lyra knew that this was only the beginning. The exoplanet beyond the reinforced windows was unforgiving, and the alien's true capabilities and intentions remained largely unknown. Lyra moved through the containment room early one morning, her gloves brushing lightly against the edge of the blanket. She could feel the warmth beneath, a steady and comforting presence that had become familiar. Her eyes followed the soft pulses, searching for patterns, for meaning. Something in her gut told her that the creature was ready to take a larger role, to do more than assist with the station's internal systems. She could not yet articulate why she felt this, but curiosity had always been a guiding force in her life, and she trusted it now. "Lyra," said Dr. Camel Rios, appearing from the corridor. "We've been running tests on the environmental controls, and the readings are off the charts. The creature is improving them in ways we didn't expect. It's almost as if it understands the planet's systems better than our instruments." Lyra smiled faintly. "It does," she said simply. "Or at least it's learning faster than we imagined. Watch how it reacts when we adjust the energy flows." Together, they approached the blanket. Lyra tapped a sequence on the control pad, projecting a gentle wave of light across the surface. The alien responded immediately, the blanket pulsing in synchronized harmony. Systems that had once been unstable were now perfectly balanced, almost intuitively. Lyra realized the magnitude of what they had discovered. Humanity had always relied on intelligence, observation, and adaptability to survive in harsh environments. Here, the same traits were not just keeping them alive, they were creating something entirely new. "Do you think it could manage the station alone?" Camel asked, his voice cautious. Lyra considered the question. "Not yet, but I believe it could teach us to manage things more efficiently. It's not a threat, it's a partner. As the day continued, the alien's influence extended further. Lyra noticed subtle changes in the air circulation, temperature control, and even the research lab's monitoring systems. Small problems that would have taken hours to troubleshoot were now resolved automatically, guided by the creature's pulses. Lyra and her team began to experiment, testing new methods of communication and observing the results. Each experiment revealed more of the alien's intelligence, its ability to learn from human behavior, and its capacity to anticipate environmental needs. By the third day, the scientists realized that the creature's cooperation was not limited to the station. Sensors at the edge of the outpost detected anomalies in the planet's surface, unexplained energy flows and shifting ice formations. At first, the team panicked, fearing potential damage or instability. But Lyra, ever observant, noticed that the pulses from beneath the blanket coincided with these changes. It was influencing the environment in ways they had not anticipated, stabilizing the terrain around the outpost, preventing avalanches, and improving structural integrity. "This is incredible," Camel said, eyes wide. "It's like it's extending its understanding beyond the station, almost like it's protecting us." Lyra nodded, her mind racing. "It's learning the planet, observing how it works, and applying that knowledge. Humanity has always adapted to challenges by understanding the environment. Now, the creature is doing the same." The revelation brought a mix of awe and responsibility. They were witnessing a form of intelligence far beyond anything humans had encountered before. It was not sentient in the human sense, perhaps, but it was capable of observation, learning, and collaboration. Lyra knew they had to approach this carefully. Any mistake, any hasty action could break the fragile trust they had built. Over the next week, the team continued to explore the creature's capabilities. They discovered that it could optimize energy distribution, predict weather patterns, and even assist in research projects by analyzing data at speeds impossible for humans. Each discovery reinforced the theme that humans, when combined with ingenuity and observation, could achieve extraordinary results, even in situations previously deemed impossible. One evening, as the planet's twin moons cast a soft glow through the observation windows, Lyra stood beside the blanket, reflecting on how far they had come. The alien pulsed gently beneath her hands, the rhythm almost conversational. She could sense a level of understanding that went beyond simple patterns. It had recognized their intentions, learned their routines, and was now responding proactively. Dr. Rios approached quietly. "Do you think it understands us emotionally?" he asked. "I mean the way we feel, the way we care?" Lyra thought for a moment, her hands hovering over the pulsing blanket. "Maybe not like we do," she said slowly, "but it understands intent. It senses that we mean no harm. It recognizes effort, curiosity, patience. That's enough to build trust. That's enough to create partnership." Her words seemed to resonate with the room. The team had learned to rely on observation, patience, and careful communication. They had applied the very human traits that had allowed them to survive harsh conditions on Earth, and now they were thriving on a distant, frozen world. The following days brought new challenges. A powerful storm formed on the horizon, threatening the outpost. Temperatures plummeted, ice shifted unpredictably, and structural sensors warned of potential damage. Panic threatened to overtake the station, but Lyra remained calm. She turned to the blanket, placing her hands gently on its surface. The creature pulsed steadily, as if acknowledging the danger. Lyra guided her team to adjust the energy flows, projecting light sequences and vibrations that the alien could interpret. Slowly, a plan formed. The creature began to influence the station systems, stabilizing energy outputs, reinforcing structural supports, and even projecting minor energy shields against the storm's effects. Hours passed in tense cooperation. The storm raged outside, but inside the station, humans and alien worked in harmony. Systems stabilized, dangers were mitigated, and the outpost survived. When the storm finally passed, a sense of quiet triumph filled the room. The alien pulsed gently, almost as if celebrating with them. Lyra felt a surge of pride and awe. Humanity had faced yet another unknown, an immense challenge, and had turned it into an opportunity. They had relied on observation, ingenuity, and courage, and the result was survival, understanding, and growth. Over the following weeks, the team continued to explore new possibilities. The aliens' influence expanded beyond mere station systems. It helped optimize research experiments, analyze geological formations, and even suggested new methods for energy conservation. Lyra realized that this partnership could revolutionize the way humans approached life on other planets. She often thought back to that first day, when a subtle pulse beneath a blanket had signaled the start of an extraordinary connection. What had begun as a simple inspection had grown into a collaboration that pushed the boundaries of human achievement. They had discovered not just a new life form, but a new way of thinking, an alliance that combined human creativity with alien adaptation. One morning, as the sun, or what passed for a sun on this frozen world, rose over the horizon, Lyra stood in the observation room, watching the alien pulses synchronize with the station systems. She smiled, thinking about the future. There were endless possibilities ahead: exploration, understanding, discovery. Humanity had met the unknown with intelligence, patience, and heart, and in return, the unknown had responded in kind. The planet outside remained harsh and unpredictable, but inside the ardent research outpost, humans had proven that they could not only survive, but thrive. The alien beneath the blanket was no longer a mystery to fear. It was a partner, a teacher, and a symbol of what humans could achieve when they combined courage with ingenuity. As Lyra touched the pulsing blanket one last time before the day's work began, she whispered, "We will explore together, we will learn together, and we will thrive together." A response came in gentle pulses, stronger and steadier than ever before. The creature had understood, and humanity had responded. Together, they had turned uncertainty into opportunity, isolation into collaboration, and mystery into knowledge. The horizon beyond the station stretched endlessly, a frozen expanse of potential and challenge. But inside, the human spirit burned bright. They had met the unknown, and they had risen to the occasion. They had proven once again that ingenuity, courage, and understanding could turn even the most alien of circumstances into triumph. And so, as the frozen winds roared beyond the reinforced walls, Dr. Lyra Chen and her team, guided by the alien pulses beneath the blanket, faced the future with hope, curiosity, and the unshakable confidence that humans, when united by intelligence and heart, could achieve the impossible. The story was far from over. New challenges would come, new mysteries would arise, and the universe would continue to test humanity. But Lyra knew one thing with certainty: as long as humans met the unknown with observation, patience, and courage, there was nothing they could not overcome. And the alien beneath the blanket pulsed in agreement.